So if your curiosity brought you here and you listen to this and you think, you know what, I've been doing a few of these things, then my friend, you are well on your way. Okay. Hello everybody, welcome. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. Yes, today we are talking about mysticism. So last week we spoke about Wicca and what is Wicca. Today we're doing it for mysticism. And again, I've done a little bit of a write-up on this for two reasons. One, I don't really want to forget things, and two, I want to keep these things condensed, right, so that they don't go too long. Right, so let's go, let's kick it off. So what is mysticism, right? Now let's start from the top. The term mystic comes from the Greek noun mystis, which originally was used to describe like an initiate or a newcomer, right? Of a secret mystery, religion, and or tradition. In the era of classical Greece, which was essentially 500 to 400 BCE, and again during the Hellenistic age, 323 BCE to 30 BCE, these were mostly still secret traditions. Okay, so it's not that they were founded then or that they started there. Okay, but in those eras, up to 30 BCE, mysticism was still predominantly a secret tradition. So it's not something you could just walk into, right? You have to go look for it. Okay. There are some that say the mystery traditions go back to 6,000 years or even more ago, or evidence was found for the 600-year theory on the emerald tablets of Thoth. Right, so going back to there's evidence that these traditions started 6,000 years ago because of the emerald tablets of Thoth, but most people do believe that it started longer ago, like a larger amount of time ago. And like we said with Wicca, right, human beings have always been drawn to kind of these spiritual things to to find more than what they can see and taste and feel and touch and all of that. So it might very well date super far back. Now, mysticism is and was an overarching term, right? Used to describe most of the mystery traditions and religions, and there's quite a few of them, and still is used in that way today. So if you are learning what they used to call mystery traditions, Wicca, shamanism, paganism, there's heaps and heaps and heaps, they would still essentially say that it's mysticism, right, more than anything else, and it's still used that way today. But the definition of a mystic is as follows: a person who seeks through contemplation and self-surrender to obtain unity with the source, God, Om, the universe, however you want to see it, right? Or who believes in the spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. So in other words, the true definition of a mystic is anyone, that's searching through contemplation, thinking, meditation, mindfulness, whatever it may be, right? And self-surrender to obtain unity with the source. Self-surrender here very much points towards things like ego death, right? Understanding that I am not the main character in the story of this world. An African thing, it's called Ubuntu, which essentially says that I can only exist as me because everyone exists as themselves, right? So the identity of me cannot exist without the identities of others to comparatively understand me, right? And that's essentially that self-surrender that we are looking for. And then looking for unity with Source or God, not worshipping God, not praying to God, but rather a unity with that. Or who believes in a spiritual apprehension of truths that are beyond the intellect. So in other words, we are not trying to think our way to understanding everything, but much rather we are feeling our way, we are meditating, we are searching for things in altered states of mind and all those kinds of things. Now, mystics typically come from all walks of life and are typically those that have tried a variety of religions and felt that they were too limited in their belief systems. By limited, I mean you've got one book and your entire life runs according to one singular book, but there's 4,520 million other books out there, right? So it's not looking at one thing as an individual, but a more omnistic approach, essentially saying that there is truth in all, right? Okay, so they forge a path for themselves based on truths from multiple religious systems. Most mystics have an omnistic or holistic approach to their own spirituality, right? Believing that in every religion there are hidden truths within them, and they then endeavor to find and follow these strands of truth. Okay, almost like following a trail of breadcrumbs. Once the truths are found, they can integrate them into their... My dog is losing her mind. I don't know why. They can integrate them into their own lives and into their own spiritualities, into their own light bodies, whatever it is that you're comfortable with. A mystic does not judge or belittle any person's beliefs, right? Because if you are believing in only one thing, I cannot belittle you for doing that, because there are truths in what you believe, right? It would be maybe slightly better if people were slightly more open-minded, but you can never belittle somebody or judge somebody because of what they choose to believe. When we walk this path of life, when we walk our spiritual path, on our spiritual journey, right, we all have individual experiences, individual paths, things that are unique to us, and we only ever want people to follow their own path, right? And then when they are ready, we can give them more information. Okay, so instead of doing all of those things, he or she rather tries to inspire those people to broaden their views and to see the truth of all, right? As all those that are building their own path are still seekers, the mystic views them as students of all and will, when asked, super important here, when asked, help them from a position of love and understanding, right? A mystic does not endeavor to tell the world they're a mystic. They don't endeavor to tell everybody that they're wrong and, they are limited and they need to expand their minds. A mystic much rather focuses on their own individual path and their own individual growth. And when asked, when approached, okay, they will then start sharing the information they have, and they can take on the role of a teacher. Okay. Mysticism covers a broad range of beliefs and practices, some of which are the use of mantra while chanting, the use of mudras, which is your hand symbols during meditation in and of itself, of course, the study and work with the chakras, NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming, but not to the extent of what psychologists and psychiatrists would want to push these things. It's much more training and retraining ourselves, rewiring our brain in order for us to change our viewpoints on things or to become a better, more holistic, more broad human being and an individual. The study and expansion of consciousness, shadow work, psychological study of oneself. Again, understanding a little bit about psychology helps you work better with yourself. In a lot of these traditions, you see the use of psychedelics or sacred medicines. So psychedelics typically are seen in most of these traditions as medicines, as sacred medicines that should be respected and utilized as tools in order to again, expand your consciousness or to dive deeper within yourself. You'll remember that we spoke about trying to find a deeper meaning and deeper truth behind things that's outside the intellect. So altered states of mind essentially is outside of the intellect, right? Okay, and so on. So there's many things. There's mystics that practice magic. There's mystics that they're just everywhere, right? It's more the intent and the curiosity and the way from which spirituality and all those things are viewed, okay, that makes it mysticism rather than the actual practice of it themselves. Okay. Now, these are all good examples, but there is no limit to what a mystic will study. Mystics will study all materials available to them and then integrate what they find that's working for them and discard everything that does not. In other words, if it resonates with you, you integrate it. If it does not resonate with you, you can shift it to the side. It's good to know it, but you don't have to use it or integrate it, right? Okay. A lot of mystics also then practice things like witchcraft, magic, Reiki, shamanism, and so on, right? So a lot of mystics then still dive into these practices and ritual and all those kinds of things for a couple of reasons. One of them is they're really cool. It's really, really cool. To be perfectly honest, it's just really cool. But also because there's purpose to it, right? Everything becomes a tool once you understand its purpose and the way to use it. Then everything is a tool, right? Okay. During my personal study of mysticism, I found two things that I've just made rules for myself, right? Okay. Never force anyone to believe anything that you do. Simply educate when possible. This is super important, right? This is one of the most important things. You cannot teach from a position of ego. You cannot try and help somebody because of hero syndrome, right? White knight syndrome, where I want to save people, and because of this wealth of knowledge that I have now donned on myself as a crown, I will teach everybody, and they will listen, and they will get better. No, stop. Okay? People can only understand you from their own level of understanding. So a lot of things that we say cannot be heard. All right, and that's super important. Firstly, you can never try and force somebody to believe anything that you believe. Okay, that's wrong. It's fundamentally wrong because each person is on their own path, right? So trying to force people to believe things that you believe is wrong. And please don't do it. And the second most important thing is never wear spirituality as a badge of honor. Never make it a new level of ego, right? It's not a matter of pride. Okay. I found that ego death will awaken the spirit in us, but we often replace our worldly ego with a spiritual one, and it's the same trap that we fall into, right? And it is something that we have to be very aware of. One can never educate from a place of ego or hubris, as it will definitely come across as condescending. Right, so let me summarize this for you guys quickly, okay? And I'm trying to keep these videos short. So what is a mystic? Mystic is a student of the mystery traditions. Okay, there are multiple mystery traditions. It has been going on since the dawn of mankind, since the first time they were huddled in a cave and they heard thunder and lightning outside and they believed it was a god, right? That's mysticism. It's this fundamental study of things that are not readily understandable, right? If you talk about a microwave and how it can heat up food, remember back in the day, if you time traveled and you took something like that back, it was seen as magic. It was nobody understood it. Half the people were too scared of it to use it because they don't understand it. But the mystic, in essence, would go and study this thing to try and understand what makes it tick. Right? Because it's beyond the intellect of that time. It is beyond the intellect of people, and they want to understand it. They want to build like this weird relationship with it so they can stop utilizing it as a tool, right? So that is a mystic. A mystic is a student of the mystery traditions. Doesn't matter which one you're talking about. That is typically how it goes. And the difference, of course, between mysticism, right, and then witchcraft, mysticism, Wicca, mysticism, shamanism, is the fact that the mystic studies all of those paths and integrates the truths that they find that resonate with them from those practices, those religions, those traditions. They integrate within themselves and they try and build themselves to such a point that they reach unification with Source, that they can also then become one. Okay? Oneness is the point of mysticism, being one with all and understanding, right, that there's no division. There's no division between me and this table. There's no division between me and this camera. It's full with billions and billions of different things, right? There's no division that exists within this universe. Everything is interconnected and all is technically one. And that's the mystic study of that, to better understand it, to integrate that into their lives, and at the same time to find, feel, experience that unification with the one, with source, with God, with whatever, yeah, right? Whatever word you want to use, it's all the same, to be perfectly honest. And that's it. That is mysticism. So if your curiosity brought you here, and you listen to this and you think, you know what, I've been doing a few of these things, then my friend, you are well on your way. Okay. In the study of the mystery traditions, in the study of mysticism, and perhaps being a mystic in and of yourself. Alright, well that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope this helps. I hope this explains things that are often misunderstood. Yeah, and that you can benefit from it in the long run. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. I really need those subscriptions and the likes and the comments, so that would really help me a lot. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Bye.